A lot of black men are dangerous, violent, and they can't take a goddamn no.
Caucasian men, sex was never brought up. They just wanted to just love on me.
Anderson had what is described as a sex dungeon in his basement.
When I talk to my sisters about their experience dating black men, the worst pain, the worst experience that they had is when they dated black men.
Pull up in the cut, hit a pop. That's why I'm moving like Tupac.
This is Big Bass Life with another informative video. We have a situation where a young lady by the name of Sade Robinson was dismembered by her white date, who she just met. She was excited, and I'm just gonna give you a little bit of the rundown before I get into the video, and let's just check this out.
He's a Milwaukee bartender now at the center of an investigation into a severed leg. 12 News Investigates is learning more about Maxwell Anderson, including what law enforcement sources tell us they found in his basement.
Anderson has not been charged. At the same time, 19-year-old Sade Robinson has been missing for 10 days.
Police say she was last seen April 1st with her burnt car later found near 30th and Lisbon.
This past weekend, investigators discovered human remains near 31st and Galena over 3 consecutive days.
Now, this is the second place a body part was found in Milwaukee County in a week. That severed leg was found in Warnemont Park in Cudahy on April 2nd.
12 News' Hannah Hilliard is live outside Anderson's home near 39th in Oklahoma. And Hannah, you've been looking into his past all day long.
Yeah, Joyce and Patrick, and we have uncovered a lot, including Anderson's ties to Waukesha County and what sources are telling us investigators found inside this home exactly 1 week ago. This is the man behind bars, but not yet charged.
In the interest of Maxwell Stephen Anderson,
Appearing in court in connection to a case that's captivated Milwaukee. Who is Maxwell Anderson? We know he's a Southside resident whose house at 39th in Oklahoma was searched by investigators 2 days after someone found a severed leg on the Lake Michigan shore in Cudahy. 12 News has confirmed the 33-year-old man has ties to Waukesha County, attending Kettle Moraine, Catholic Memorial, and Pewaukee high schools in the early 2000s. Anderson has a criminal record, a 2014 misdemeanor disorderly conduct conviction in Waukesha County after an incident with a family member in Delafield, and in 2015, a misdemeanor domestic violence case out of Door County. For the last few years, he's worked at several Milwaukee bars.
He works full-time,
including The Rave from 2018 to 2020, most recently working at Victor's nightclub on the east side. A woman who claims she met Anderson there spoke to 12 News by phone, but asked not to be identified out of fear for her safety. She says he once invited her to his Southside home.
I remember there being something about a hole in the yard, and this was back in fall. I remember asking about it, and he was like, oh, I'm building a garden.
In a view from News Chopper 12,
all right, that looks like a hole there, actually.
A gaping hole next to Anderson's house was visible earlier this week. Inside the home,
and when I got in, it just kind of seemed like he was in the middle of a whole bunch of renovations, but kind of seemed like the kind of guy that never would finish them.
Thursday, 12 News learned from multiple law enforcement sources Anderson had what is described as a sex dungeon in his basement.
Get rid of the people, what do? You get rid of the women. You make them undesirable. You make the men not want to be with them. And that's what you see happening right now. Because at the end of the day, the women hold the culture. They pass the culture down to the children. The same culture that was passed down to children like Nat Turner, Harriet Tubman, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all of our, Huey P. Newton, all of our great freedom fighters, Thurgood Marshall. These strong women pass this culture down. So how do you undermine the culture? How do you undermine the people by undermining the culture, and you undermine the culture by undermining the people who pass the culture down? That's like your grandmother and your great-grandmother. So if your great-grandmother wasn't the woman she was, that hard-working woman that cooked and cleaned and took care of the family, guess what? You wouldn't be where you are right now. So imagine in 50 or 60 years, the type of grandmothers that generation is going to have based on what you see.
And what we're seeing is a culture of women, our women, dating outside of the race. They figure, well, if he can do it, I can do it. If black men can date outside the race, why can't we? The difference is men hold the key to protection, the protection of your life and the protection of his future. And a lot of times when you're dealing with these type of men, these male zaddy type men, they use you they fetishize you. You are a fetish. You are a punching bag. You are an experiment.
Man wanted for murdering a woman in downtown Dallas was caught and arrested in Austin. Investigators say 46-year-old Janine Chapman was found dead inside an apartment in the National Building on Elm Street Monday afternoon. Her family says the suspect was an on and off boyfriend who married Chapman over the summer.
I think a lot of times our sisters, they look at white men as superior. They look at white men as better. They look at white men as all of these things except dangerous.
Are so triggered when black women just still don't want to date you. I still don't want to date black men. I'm still divested. I still believe white men are better. Okay, just because this asshole led me on does not mean that he's any doesn't mean that y'all are equal. No, you guys are not equal. Black men cannot take a no.
You're dealing with a dangerous individual. You're dealing with someone that has a historic overview when it comes to his relationship, even with his own woman.
Saturday night.
Have I been arrested for something I didn't do?
You haven't been arrested, mate. Did you kill Grace Mullane? Okay. Jesse Kempson, you're under arrest for the murder of Grace Mullane.
On behalf of New Zealand, I want to apologise to Grace's family. Your daughter should have been safe here, and she wasn't, and I'm sorry for that.
You have no reason to convict me. You're full of
A lot of black men are dangerous, violent, and they can't take a goddamn no. In general, just can't take a no. Once I told him no to, like, when he was trying to touch me in the car, he stopped. He dropped me home, and I was able to dump him in peace. I got home safely. I was able to tell him, like, this ain't gonna work out, and I blocked his ass. I haven't heard from him since. He's left me the fuck alone. Let this have been he would have made fake phone numbers to reach out to me, to harass me. He would have probably kept going, if y'all know what I mean when it came to the inappropriate touching. Okay, he would have been worse. Okay, I've had very bad experiences with black men who just cannot take rejection. I know from firsthand that black men do not know how to take no for a goddamn answer. Okay, so don't tell me that white men must not be the best. White men, all this comparison, but y'all ain't the same as white men. White men are still better than y'all. I don't give two okay?
So if this is the type of danger you're putting yourself in, all hands off. So black men are starting to back up and saying, hey, look, if this is what you want to do, no problem. You want to divest? Go ahead. And literally, they are divesting.
October 7th, a 22-year-old black woman in Excelsior Springs, Missouri, escaped from a white man who she says held her captive in his basement for nearly a month, whipping, torturing, and raping her repeatedly. The woman fled and knocked on a neighbor's door for help after the man left the house to take his son to school.
About 7:30 a.m., I faintly heard a young female saying, "Help me."
They're literally dying out here to find protection, except looking in the mirror and looking at themselves. If you can look at yourselves and find the answer and the key to what's really plaguing the black community, because, we can play the point the finger game all day long, but one thing you can understand about men are builders, men are providers, men can find your replacement.
Forward to this generation, black women don't respect black men. There's no empathy for black men. There's no sympathy for black men. You don't even love black men. You don't even know who we are. You don't give a f about us. Pay my bills, eat my ass, and that's it.
Thanks.
Okay, so it's important that black men understand what was done to us and why it was done to us. It's also important that black women understand their position in systematic racism and how they're being utilized to destroy their whole family and their whole community and whole generation. Okay. Now A black man's role is to be the protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer, and leader. I'm a man,
Producer.
protector, provider, maintainer, sustainer.
Producer.
You have your opinion, I have mine.
You're right. I'm just giving it. And producer.
Right. I got you. You have what you want to put in. I feel like black men need to disregard how black women feel about our masculinity and be more self-contained. I don't need you. I don't need your money. I don't need none of that. I'm not sleeping on your couch. Don't give me no keys. I'm gonna get my own. I'm gonna go to God. And when you don't want to fit my program, bye. Go.
Thank you.
You're not needed. You're dangerous. I don't want to bear seed with you. I don't want to sleep with you. I don't want to be your friend. I'm staying away from you.
Black men in America, that's just one aspect. We can go outside the realms of America, which you're starting to see. You're starting to see many and many of black men venturing out. You know, they call it passport bros, and you can laugh at it. You can mock at it. You can say what you want to say. But black men are living their lives. Now, we suffer fatality going outside of the realms because that's just what happens. But not at the rate that our women are suffering. Not at the rate that they're suffering. And I want to know why the black women YouTubers are now, crying out. Why we don't see a lot of shows on this. Why no one points the finger at Zaddy. Had Zaddy been a black man, it'd have been plastered all over the place. It would have been the talk of the town. It would have been something that we need to dig into. Black men are the problem. Look what black men are doing. Look how they're killing their own sister. Look how they're deleting us. Look how, it just goes on and on and on. But when it comes to Zaddy, Zaddy gets the white Jesus treatment. He gets excused. He's a lone wolf. Oh, he was frustrated. Zaddy was angry. Zaddy had problems.
New developments in the death of a 23-year-old black woman who died after a dating app meetup after protesters demanded answers. Marching on what would have been Lauren Smithfield's 24th birthday Sunday, carrying balloons to mark the occasion. Smithfields was found unresponsive in her apartment December 12th. Her family now filing a notice of claim, a first step in preparing to sue the city of Bridgeport, Connecticut for its, quote, racially insensitive handling of Smithfield's sudden passing.
Whatever happened that night, we want to know. And we want to feel like that they care as much as we care.
She was found by a man she allegedly met on the dating app Bumble, according to a police incident report provided by the family attorney. The man is 37 years old and white, according to public record, and he called the police, according to the incident report, when he says he woke up next to her and she was not breathing.
The man who found Lauren is not currently considered a person of interest. What is the family's response to that?
The family is very insulted by that. They weren't looked at as a person of interest, and we feel that is racially motivated.
Tonight, her death ruled an accident.
But you don't find the same vitriol. There's no outrage. There's none of that. So because there's no outrage, guess what? It continues.
He once invited her to his Southside home.
I remember there being something about a hole in the yard. And this was back in fall. I remember asking about it, and he was like, I'm building a garden.
In a view from News Chopper 12,
all right, that looks like a hole there, actually.
A gaping hole next to Anderson's house was visible earlier this week. Inside the home,
and when I got in, it just kind of seemed like he was in the middle of a whole bunch of renovations, but kind of seemed like the kind of guy that never would finish them. Thursday,
12 News learned from multiple law enforcement sources Anderson had what is described as a sex dungeon in his basement.
Why do you have a hole that size in your backyard? And this before her, because he definitely didn't bury her in the hole. He took her and dumped her all around the city. So what was in that hole out there? They're not disclosing that. What was in his basement? They're not disclosing that. He had a sex dungeon. So if he had a sex dungeon, it was other women before her. It was other situations before her. But they're not going to disclose that. You know why? Because Zaddy is going to protect his own. Instead of black women thinking on the same terms as, okay, they're protecting their own. Look, I need protection. Hey, it may be a little rocky with my men, but guess what? It's not this rocky. That's the situation we're dealing with. This has been Big Bad's Life with another informative video, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Getting back on track. Let's get this thing popping, man. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure all notifications are on. Hit that like bell, like punch that like bell, like still off on that like bell. We want to make this thing grow, man. Let's get on to it. And until next time, alright?
My biggest regret in life is not using my time. Not using my time. 10 more time. 10 more time. Fucking bitches.
Yeah, my bitch, she bad, got a lot more ass, nothing about me average. Nigga get mad and they act like you never had a motherfucking bad. Chasing these chickens, pop out, hit it, I'm gone, you drop by. Box don't belong to you, cock block. Got so many files, need to drop by. New Orleans, wet, mop. Dreadhead, bumper clock, top. Talk your shit, let her bop. Fall asleep, call the beat, wop. Dancing in the club or the drop top. Just like a fuck nigga, yop. Pull up in the cut, hit a pop. That's why I'm moving like Tupac.